Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
All right, hi, I'm Zoe Hinton from Star Wars Geek Girl, and I'm here as usual with Lizzie.
Hi, guys.
And we have a guest, Dale Hopkins, who was on our Star Wars stories.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am doing great. How are you today?
Good, I'm great.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right. So we were all on our Star Wars stories.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. Like, we have a little group now.
We do. It's like I talk about family, in my story, and you guys are, talking about your families and your stories. So it's like, it's just a blending of our families now.
It's just a huge positive Star Wars community.
It is.
It's really
I'm
great.
glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad to have you guys as a part of my family now.
Yeah. So how did you feel? Like, we kind of talked about ours before. We'll talk about ours, but how did you feel about, like, did they emailed you or something about it, right?
Well, I had seen Jordan had posted sort of like an open, like casting submission type thing in one of the groups that I was on. I just happened to be on that morning, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I have a story, maybe I don't. Well, I'll send him an email. So I sent him an email and, just kind of told him about, how I grew up sort of feeling like there was not a sense of community. But then when the internet came around, then I started finding all these other people on the internet, and then that translated to going to conventions and then meeting these people in real life, and then really starting to develop these friendships and family type relationships with them. And then when I got sick with my cancer, these people really kind of just surrounded me. And, it was sort of like that whole, I am all the Jedi, or I am all the Sith, or, whatever the case is, and it was just kind of a cool progression.
Yeah, I think the internet's pretty great. At least that's what I think.
Well, it depends on who you follow and who's in your circle. I mean, but
right.
if you don't like something, you just scroll past it and don't engage.
Yeah, and I love the Star Wars community just in general, and I'm really glad that we have the internet so that way we can have these communities and be closer together, especially during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Like, we can still talk to each other even though we can't see each other. Like, Zoe and I wouldn't be friends because she's in Pennsylvania, I'm all the way in California.
Right.
So the internet's just a great thing. What were you excited about it? Nervous?
I was a little bit nervous, which is just weird. I mean, I'm a very extroverted introvert. What had happened
I understand
is
that.
I was
I
shy as a kid, and then I had to get a job, and my first job was at retail, and I'm like, you can't be shy in retail. And I know Zoe works around a lot of people as well, and you kind of can't have that wall up.
Yeah.
And so what happened for me was I guess I became a character, which then just sort of became a part of me where, I, could interact with people. So, I have done a lot of things in, the public forum, but this was so huge because it was Star Wars, and so, and a few days before, there was just a lot of stuff that was just going down in my life. And I'm like, I should be more excited about this than I am. And I'm like, I can't concentrate on being excited about this. And so I kind of had a little, temper tantrum about, how I needed to stop thinking about these heavy things that were going on and to just sort of immerse myself in getting into that moment.
Yeah.
And
how do you feel? At least this is what my dad says. How do you feel that your house is now a Star Wars set?
I know. That was one of the things I was like, I'm like, I know you guys just think this is a thing, but this is the closest I'll probably ever be to being in a Star Wars anything.
Yeah.
And how freaking cool is that? it was funny, and I'm sure you guys probably had this experience. I mean, I don't live in a particularly large house, so we've got a lot of furniture sort of like tastefully crammed into an area and everything. But they went through and they just moved couches and tables and things, and our dining room just sort of became a storage warehouse for everything that they didn't want to use. So it was just kind of funny.
That's like what because they came the day before they were shooting to just kind of like check things out at my house, and they were just like, because I guess like they just because of the driving schedule they got to Lancaster early and were like, well, let's poke around. So and so they came in the house, they were looking at everything, talking about like what the schedule for the day was going to look like. And in our living room where they filmed my interview, there's this giant, Lizzie's seen it, she's been to my house, there's this giant like L like round corner couch. And they they were like, can you get that out of the way? And we were like, I guess. So so they left that
Dad, is that okay if we move?
So they left that evening, and my mom and sister were both at school that day. I was on my spring break, and my dad took a day off work. And we moved, my dad moved the couch to this other our little like dining room area. So there's just a box in our dining room, like, because there's like just the way the wall is, it was just a square. So you had to hop over the couch, and they were like, they set up like a little station in our like kitchen dining room. They like would hop over the couch, they had their computers set up, and it worked out. But it's just so funny because like my living room just looked so empty. Like I didn't even know. Like
I saw it and I was like, oh. I thought it was so funny because my mom, she was very like, okay, everything has to be perfect. Lizzie, like straighten your hair. Sal, like do this, blah blah. So she moved, like herself moved things because she was like, they're probably gonna want to use the living room, so we're gonna clean all this. And even though they're not going to be using the kitchen or anything, we're cleaning everything. And so all they had to do was come in and set up lights. They're like, okay, this is we can work with,
Nice.
We definitely did a deep clean the day before they got there.
Same here.
Yeah.
Well, my biggest issue was the collection room, which I call Warehouse 1138 because I was a huge fan of the show Warehouse 13. And I'm just like, oh, I could graphically manipulate that logo on that thing and make it 1138. And that also came from my friend who, she goes, this doesn't look like much of a collector's room because of the types of shelves you have in here. It looks like a warehouse. And I'm just kind of like, fine, I'll run with it. But what had happened is because it's such an old house, some of the plaster started coming down off of the ceiling.
Oh.
And so I had to move some stuff out of the way. And we called our guy to come over and take care of it, but he wasn't able to get there in time, and part of the ceiling collapsed in there, and then I just felt kind of bummed out for about 6 months, and it turned into like this awful storage room of things that I hadn't opened. I was just like, it's just gonna go in there for a little bit. I will look at it someday when I'm happy. And then when, like the Sunday before they came, because they came out on a Thursday, that's when I started having the temper tantrum, because I was like, oh, I need to clean this room, and all this stuff is going on, and I cannot do it. And so I did get it all put together and squared away, and as you probably saw, that there was enough stuff that was filmed in that room and some photographs taken, and so it came together.
We had so many helmets, so they were like, we'll use all the helmets and put it around, so each helmet was in the room. But it was so cool. And we the crew were very nice, and they were I forget the interviewer's name.
Jordan.
Yeah. He was super nice. He was very like trying to work with us, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna like ask you this question, be prepared. Like, I'm still not prepared. It was such a great time with them.
They really kind of did make it pretty easy, I think.
They tried, yes.
I mean, everybody was very kind. Everybody was very professional. But it was just weird having that many people in my house, like working and not like, just coming over for a social visit.
Right.
And so that was kind of wild.
It was weird because like I am someone who, like, because of my major, I like work on like camera sets and like do that stuff. But also, like, I enjoy like hosting people and like cooking for them. And I think my brain was confused because it's like, am I in set mode or am I in hostess mode? What's
Right.
Both.
Yeah. So my brain was just kind of like, what am I doing?
You were also being interviewed.
I was being interviewed. I was doing like camera stuff, and then I was trying to like make sure everyone was fed. It was my brain was a little scrambled, but in the best way.
My mom was like, "Are you guys hungry? Are you guys hungry?" And the crew's like, "No, we're okay." And my mom's like, "Okay, I ordered 5 pizzas."
Yeah, I made like
oh, that is really sweet. That is such a mom thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I made like a barbecue, like jackfruit kind of thing, like sandwiches for them, and then I made Death Star shaped cookies for everyone to have. And so it's like the entire day I was like, "Are you hungry? Need anything to drink?" They're like, "No, it's fine." And then we broke for lunch, and like in like half an hour, everything I made was pretty much gone. It was kind of, I was like, "So you were hungry this whole time?"
Yeah, I just got chips and like cookies and stuff for them. It's like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not preparing any food myself. But you know, and I was like, do you guys want me to make you some food? And they're like, oh no, we're just gonna order lunch in. What do you want? And I'm like, okay.
Anything.
So it was just kind of funny, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll let him, you know, for as much money as I've pumped into the Star Wars machine, all these, I guess you can buy me an $8 salad, you know?
Oh yeah. That was a lot of fun. And I enjoyed talking to the crew, like even if it with like behind the cameras, like that was cool. They were all very sweet.
Yeah, one of the guys in the crew actually came up to me and we started a conversation because his brother-in-law was just recently diagnosed with multiple myeloma. So we had, you know, pretty, you know, lengthy discussion about that, and you know, just, you know, and I just said, I'm like, well, you know, I'm very transparent about everything, which is why you guys are here. If you need anything, you know, please just, you know, contact me and let me know, and I can, you know, maybe guide you, you know, along the way if you're, you know, if your sister, you know, needs anyone to talk to about this, if, you know, questions aren't being answered the way you wanted. So again, you know, that day the family grew a little bit more.
Yeah, I loved listening to your story. It was very inspiring.
Thank
very
you.
moving.
Well, I just love the fact that, you know, we've all had our stories, and I've like watched all of them, you know, at this, you know, point, you know, you know, all the ones that have been released. And, you know, I am just so thrilled that there is an outlet for us to be able to express our fandoms and our passion for, you know, something that really, you know, I think to many outsiders is looked upon as like this bizarre little like subculture.
Right.
But we are a passionate bunch, and we are a very caring bunch, and we do look out for each other. And I think that's why, you know, like celebrations have been so much fun, because we all seem to put all of our issues aside. The thing that brings us all together at these conventions or any fan gathering is just our love for that franchise, that universe. And, you know, I think it's a wonderful thing.
How many celebrations have you been to?
My first one was Celebration 3 in Indianapolis. I was like, well, that one's really close to Cleveland. I could drive to that one in a few hours. And I thought, you know, at that time, there wouldn't be another one, because at that point we didn't know that there were going to be, you know, episodes 7, 8, and 9. We didn't know about Rogue One. We didn't know about, you know, Solo. So it was a weird thing. And I thought, well, you know, if I'm going to go, this is probably going to be the one. And, you know, and I got to meet Anthony Daniels and Warwick Davis, who came by with his wife and their children, and, you know, pushing a stroller. And I sat next to Rick McCallum when he was, when we went to the Rick McCallum Spectacular, which was the reveal of, like additional footage for Revenge of the Sith. I met David Prowse in an elevator at a friend's hotel when we went up to go get a pack of cards. So, I mean, it was just a surreal experience. So I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did this one. But then the next one that I went to ended up being Orlando in 2012. And that's when I met Carrie Fisher. And there's a great story with that you can find on one of my many blogs that I have, but it's a funny story. I don't know that it's necessarily appropriate to tell on the podcast. It is funny, and it is very Carrie Fisher. And then I went to Anaheim in 2015, 2017 back in Orlando, and then Chicago last year. So 5. I've been to 5.
Wow. Yeah, I've only done Anaheim and Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
I'm only Orlando and Chicago. So
yeah. Well, you know what? You guys are still young. There's going to be lots of these,
Yeah.
I hope so.
You'll be going to these things long after I've, transformed and become one with the Force. So.
Yeah. Celebration is very fun. So you do a costume, right? You do costuming.
Yeah.
So how many costumes do you have?
I have a Jedi costume. I've got a couple of Poe Dameron ones, and then I have my original character, Dex Balagon. So I've got the Force Awakens Poe. Oh, actually, I've got all the Poes actually at this point. Now that I think about it, and then I have the interchangeable Resistance X-wing one, where I've also created a helmet that is my own for Dex, and then I have combat thing for Dex. I've got a tactical mission one for Dex, and I don't know. I guess I'm having fun. A command jacket one. Yeah. And it's just cobbling things together, with these additional ones that I've been making. And it's just sort of, well, what can I find on, I'm not going to plug any, particular retail outlets, but ones that don't cost very much. Let's just put it that way. And so I've been finding, pieces, parts that I'm like, you know what, I can adapt that. Looks just enough sequel era type of, gear that I can, sort of manipulate and sew things on and, get little, tchotchkes to put in like the flares or the code cylinders and that. So that's been fun.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
What's my favorite? I don't know.
I know it's a hard question, but
I know. I really like the Jedi one because it is so comfortable.
Jedis are definitely comfortable.
Are they? It's so non-restrictive, and plus with the robe, I'm just like, can I just fly across the country in this? Because it's just like I've got my blanket around me, and I put the hood up, and so
just fly around the con.
Exactly. So how about you? I know Zoe's got a crazy ton of things that she's made, and I know you've got stuff. So how about you? What are your favorites?
I like my Sabine.
Okay.
I think I only have my Sabine. 4, but we're making our epilogue.
Okay.
So
4? I know you had 4.
No, I have 3. My bad.
Oh. Like, wait,
I'm
secret
slacking.
Sabine.
Yeah, I'm making the epilogue Sabine right now.
Okay.
And I just need to finish the helmet. It's so much work.
Because
usually my dad is the one that makes it, and every now and then I'm like, I want to paint that, and he'll be like, okay, sure. But now he's like, okay, you get to paint everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this is really difficult.
Well, now that we're all kind of stuck within our own little tiny boundaries and everything, it's like, a little more time to
might as well,
to create.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Zoe?
See, I would say my favorite is probably season 3 Sabine, because I have this cute white and purple wig that I wear with it. But I do have to give a very close second to the epilogue Sabine that I wore in the video.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in the process of dyeing my hair a new color, so I'll have to figure something out for that one. Because I just use my natural hair for it.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't use any wigs. They're too itchy.
Too itchy. They get hot.
Bother me.
I got all the wigs. I ordered another wig for season 4 Sabine, and then another wig because I got the Rebels concept art book.
Okay.
And I saw this one, it's this one tiny, tiny little picture of an idea for Sabine that they never used, and it's like way early in development. And it's just this one tiny little sketch. And I was like, I love that. I'm going to make that right now. So I ordered a whole bunch of stuff this morning. So that's
awesome. Now, the wigs, though, I mean, it's like, with the helmets and stuff, you've got a 3D printer, or you've got a source where you can get, like, the unfinished helmets, or whatever the case may be. That's one thing, but like with wigs, I mean, you can't like really sew your own wigs. So what do you do?
I mean, some people do sew their own wig. I tried.
Well,
to my credit,
I would. That's not an undertaking.
To my credit, I tried to sew my own wig. So actually, it's funny because with the season 3 wig, it has this really particular style. It's like short and then long on one side.
Yeah.
And no one made a wig like that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try and get a wig and cut it and put it together. And I wound up like butchering this wig. Like I got this long white wig and I just like ruined it. I was looking at it the one day and I was like, this is not what I wanted. And then luckily the next day, one of my friends texted me and she's like, hey, I'm not doing a Sabine or anything, but there's this wig website I follow and they're coming out with a Sabine wig. And I know you're working on that costume. I was like, link me right now.
Perfect.
So that's the wig I have. For that wig, I bought it and it came perfect. And it's amazing.
Nice.
For the first 2 wigs, it's a simpler style. And actually on Amazon, if you just look up short anime wig, they have it the same style in like a million colors. So I just got for the first one, I got orange and the second one teal. And then you just get flower paint, like a flower spray paint on faux flowers and I guess real flowers, and just paint the base because Sabine can't just have one color hair.
Exactly.
Special.
Never.
She's very artistic.
Unless she's undercover, then I can just get away with this.
Oh, there you go. I have to say, it's like I really I mean, when I was growing up, because I'm like 3,000 years old, it was really hard for the girls that I was growing up with to be, able to identify with the character because all they had was Leia. It's like, but I just love the fact that we have Ahsoka, who has just really grown to become such a fan favorite. I mean, especially with this last season on Disney Plus, that was incredible. And and then you have Sabine and Hera, and both of them I think are just so kick-ass. And and then you have Rey, and you have all these other female characters in the films now that have speaking lines that aren't just basically just nodding or doing this tactical like plotting in complete silence in the background. And I love that, and I think that it's a great time for girls and women to really be able to embrace and embody a character. I mean, not that they couldn't with male characters, but I think that it's an easier connect.
Yeah, which is why I thought it was so great that I heard when I first met Zoe. Like my dad was like, "Oh, there's this other girl that does Sabine, and she's like probably like 9 years old." I
was 14.
Yeah, she was not, because Zoe's like a year older than me. So at the time I was just freaking out, but then like it's just cool to be able to connect with other women or just other people that can connect with a certain character that you love so much.
Yeah, I think and that's the thing. It's like you find these commonalities, And it just sort of, you have your own little secret club in a way, because it's like, yeah, even though, there are all these people and maybe you'll eventually meet all of them, or when you go to the conventions, you do meet them. But yeah, when you guys share this love for a character and you just run with it, and you're just kind of like, yeah, that is super awesome. And, I just want to do everything of that character and just be a part of that. And I love that. And I love seeing all of that when I go to these shows, and, it just makes me smile.
Yeah,
It
it's
really
especially
does.
fun when, especially at celebrations where they'll have like a all Ahsoka or
Yeah.
all like Rebels or something like that. So I just think it's super cool. It's so sweet.
I'll tell you though, I mean, it's like all of you in the armor and stuff. I'm like, that's like so damn cool. I mean, I'm like, I'm like, yeah, when I'm going out the cheap out route, and it's like, it's fine. These are cloth costumes and stuff like
Sewing
that.
is hard.
But yeah, so I'm just like, oh my god, though. But the armor is just so impressive, and every time I see that, I'm just like, wow, that is so freaking cool.
You should make a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Make a Mando version of Dex. Maybe he gets in touch with some Mandalorians and makes his own armor.
Well, there you go. There is a helmet that I'm looking. It's a biker helmet that is called it looks kind of gladiator-ish, but it almost looks like somebody repurposed a clone helmet, and it is just so awesome. And I'm like, do I have $106 to spend on that right now? No, I don't. Maybe in the near future. We'll see.
I recently bought a pair of Ahsoka Clone Wars sabers, and I do not want to say how much I spent.
Yeah. Shh. Don't tell.
I'm pretty good at containing myself because my parents are like, "What are you buying? What are you buying?" Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Totally not buying a bunch of skins on Fortnite right now. I buy more like, I buy useless things that I don't need.
No.
Ahsoka sabers are cool though.
My shopping addiction this quarantine, I guess, has been clothes, which kind of sucks because I can't wear them anywhere. Like, I'm getting all these great outfits, and it's like, well, what am I gonna do with this until we can like go outside?
So are these regular civilian wear, or is this stuff that's emblazoned with Star Wars?
It's both, but this regular civilian wear is designed to create outfits inspired by Star Wars.
Okay, hey, that's all right. That's nice. That we can sneak that in under the radar.
Well, it's like I bought my first tube top to be like Ahsoka in the first season of Clone Wars.
Okay.
She has a pretty cute outfit there.
Yeah.
Very fun.
I wanted to buy a Lando's yellow shirt that has the flap.
Oh yeah.
That was really cool. Lately I've been like, oh, I like colorful things now, but I also like black. So I'm like mixing them all together.
It's okay. Hey, you got to do what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's your style. That's who you are, and that's who you are at this moment. I mean, it may not be you in 5 years, but right now you should definitely go with the things that are calling to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a huge Parks and Rec fan, and today I was just very excited because I got a Mouse Rat shirt. So I was watching the reunion COVID thing a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? I've wanted a Mouse Rat shirt for Chris Pratt's band, so yeah, I'm gonna get that. And somebody and I will say it's on Etsy. That person, somebody was making them, and I'm like, all right, I'll buy that.
You're also supporting. It's okay.
I am
supporting artists. It's
small businesses, So.
Mm-hmm.
So do you find that going back to costuming, do you find that there's a place that you routinely go to find things, or are you just kind of just scouring the internet for anything?
Thrift shops.
Thrift shops. Okay.
Thrift shops. Ross.
Okay.
I don't know how widespread Ross stores are.
You
but
have
there's-
Ross? No, we have Ross.
No.
I don't know.
We don't have them here.
I never know. Sometimes I think like stores are universal, and then I mention them
Yeah.
to you, and you're like, "What the heck is that?"
I
Right.
said Carl's Jr. and she was like, "What's that?" I'm like,
Yeah.
Carl's Jr.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but
We have Hardee's
Ross-
here for that.
yeah,
So.
I don't know what that
yeah.
is.
I know what Hardee's is. I've been to them a couple times. But
It's
yeah,
part of the
Ross-
same chain as Carl's Jr.
Okay. Oh, okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. All
Yeah,
right.
and so they have the same, pretty much the same menu and the same setup, but it's just like two different names. Like we have Rallies, and I know in Chicago they have Checkers, and
Never heard of either of those. So
yeah, it's a little burger drive-through thing. They don't even have a place where you could sit down. So this is perfect for the quarantine.
Yeah.
Just drive up and get your burger.
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, Ross is where I got my Sabine boots.
Okay.
Because it's surprisingly hard to find women's boots that are just like just plain black boots.
Okay.
Like you'd think
Stop putting little diamonds on them.
like buckles and rhinestones, and it's like that's cool, but I don't want that.
Right. Right.
Not right now.
But I feel bad. Like I just got an email the other day from someone who's working on a Sabine, and they were asking me questions. They're like, "Where'd you get your boots? I can't find them." And I was like, "It was a lucky find at Ross. Like I've gone back to
Sure.
Ross to see if I can find more, and they're just not there. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to tell you."
Well, I mean, we've got Marshalls here, and
Marshalls.
and sometimes you can find some really, pretty stripped down looking shoes and boots and stuff there. So, I guess for people who might have Marshalls in their area, they could go check out, those places.
My mom loves Marshalls.
Does she?
Yeah.
I get most of my tennis shoes from them.
Yeah, thrift stores are also good. Like Lizzie said, there's this one sort of close to me, and they sort all of their clothes by color.
Okay.
It's the best thing in the world when you're looking for like, all right, I'm working costume. I need like a brown shirt in this shade of brown, and you just go over to where all that brown is.
That's
all there.
awesome.
It's amazing.
That is great.
I'm having trouble finding black leggings though for Sabine.
Really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Like because we found some, but then we had to have like a person like sew it for us, but it was like a small company, and they were like, "Why do you want this? Like, why do you want it like this?"
Why are you asking me? It's none of your business. That's what I want.
My first Sabine outfit, we didn't really know that many people who like sewed stuff when we were working on it. And we found this one lady in our area, and this is like this nice older lady in a little house, like on a back hill.
Mm-hmm.
And her main thing was sewing like dresses for like dance recitals. So we show up with these pictures of a cartoon, and we're like, "Can you make these clothes?" And she just kind of looked at us, and she was like, I guess. And so we got her 2 shirts and 2 pairs of pants, because Sabine is like the two-tone weird. And we gave them to her, and she sewed it, and they worked great until I, grew out of them a little bit.
Sure.
But it was just funny. She was like, I can do that, but all right.
Don't ask too many questions. Just look at it, visualize it, and
do it.
You're off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have problems with sewing?
Me?
Yes.
I am a very weirdly novice-y kind of sewer. We're presently moving stuff out of my mom's old condo because she got a smaller apartment, and she has this really nice sewing machine from like 50 odd years ago, and it works beautifully. So I'm like, you know what? It's a 50 some odd year old sewing machine. I should just learn how to use it. I should just learn. So I'm gonna get better, because right now I'm doing it with one of those little tiny, handheld sewing stitchers. When I have to like hem things or do anything like that. But yeah, my a lot of times I just take things that are fully formed and then alter them a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, that's sort of my limited skill on that. I'm great at painting stuff, though. I can paint blasters and communication devices and weather those and do all of that. One of my friends, he sort of gave me a quick tutorial on that. And he's another person who is just absolutely crazy amazing with stuff. He's built droids and like clone armor and Kylo Ren helmets. He just did the Rise of Skywalker one with all the cracks in it, and he's got it so the red lights up underneath it so you can see the red, and I'm just like, you're totally blowing my mind, man. He's a nice guy and is just incredible with that. So I was like, I look to you for inspiration.
Yeah, my dad's been casting protocol droid suits. He made a 000 for my little sister.
Nice.
He's making. My sister also laid claim to C-3PO, which I've been disputing, but he's making a C-3PO. And I'm gonna get a K-3PO, the white droid from Ha.
Yeah.
But he's been in protocol droid. It's funny, because Matt Martin created 000, and he was one of the producers that comes to your house for Star Wars stories.
He's a sweet guy.
He's so great. But he was looking at the 000 heads that my dad had, and my dad was like, "Oh, I'll make you one." So he made one after Matt Martin gave us where to send it to, and my dad sent the 000. And I'd made a pop of 000 for my little sister. I designed a pop box for 000, and I took a 3PO pop and painted it black with red eyes. And Matt Martin was looking at it, so I made him a pop too and sent it with the head. And
aw, that is so sweet. And then I was gonna say, Afra is another great character.
Afra. Oh yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing an Afra? Either one of you?
My mom. She wants to do Afra. I don't read the Afra comics that much. The only thing I've read about her is like, I think the Certain Point of View book.
Sure.
I read her story.
Yeah.
That was cool.
She's
crazy.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of like it because she's not a bad guy, but she's kind of shady. And
I heard she blew up Ewoks. That's pretty bad.
Well, there
and
is
Tukas.
Okay.
Yeah, I've thought about doing an Afra just to like go with my sister when she's in 000.
Yeah.
But I've got so many other costumes I'm working on.
You could be the other droid that's there.
I could be the astromech.
Yeah, if you're short enough.
I don't know if I would quite fit comfortably.
Well, I guess it's better than a BB unit. You know?
True.
Now I'm imagining like someone making a giant BB, like those big hamster balls that people get in, like the big clear ones, like make like a BB-8 one, and you like people running it, and like I don't know how you get the head to stay up, but
they had to paint it like so thinly so they could see through it.
You don't need to see.
It's fine. We'll just roll into the convention like that.
But now you've like opened up this whole other thing of like, they've got all these pet products. So how about if they have a BB-8 hamster ball?
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine that? You just invented something, Zoe.
BB-8 everything. I'm sure there's a BB-8 hamster ball somewhere. I'm sure if there's not a company making, I'm sure someone's made one.
You would think. That would be fun.
I remember Force Awakens when that came out. I remember, I don't know why, but I had like, before the movie came out, just like a ton of BB-8 everything. And I'm not particularly attached to BB-8. Like I love him, of course. It's BB-8. But I don't have a particular attachment to him. But I just had like so much BB-8 stuff. Like I had like a bag and a hat and a shirt. So I would just like rolled up to Force Awakens, like covered head to toe and just BB-8 everything. And no one had to second guess what movie I was there to see.
Yeah, there you go.
I have an inflatable BB-8 costume as well.
Okay.
Technically child size, but I fit it, so.
Who cares?
It worked.
So actually, I had a question. So. And it relates back to our Star Wars story.
Oh, sure. We're just bopping all over the place, aren't we?
It's okay.
That's normal.
I was just thinking, like, so when me and my family got interviewed for our Star Wars stories, like afterwards, my mom was like, "Don't read the YouTube comments." And Zoe, I told that to Zoe, and Zoe's like, "Don't do it." And I was like, "I'm gonna do it," and I did it, and I thought it was just so funny. And I'm just wondering, did you guys do it?
I have. I felt like a hypocrite. I was like, I told Lizzy not to do this, and here I am all the time. Like, did anyone else comment?
I went on because, I mean, like, I'm at the point right now where, I have 0 Fs about everything. I think I don't know if it's my age or just my attitude about
Probably not
things.
age, because I kind of have that.
Okay. But I think you just get to a point where you're just kind of like, I wonder what people are saying. And the thing that I found, like, I mean, there were just like some really like completely like unrelated things out there, like, hey, I'm the first one to comment, and I'm like, great for you. But there were some really personal stories, that and people, just saying, thank you for, presenting your story. And, I went through a thing. And so I don't know. It's just, I don't just say, I really do care about everybody. I really do. And I want to reach out to people. And so, anywhere there was a comment, that somebody said something like that, I responded back to them, and I'm like, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing your story. And I'm sorry that, you had to go through this personal trial. But I'm glad that you did have, Star Wars to be able to guide you through that the way I had in mind. And, and then, so then we, it was like a moment, but again, it was that whole, the family expands. It's like we all take care of each other. And, I didn't, care about like the completely unrelated comments on there, but the ones who did say things or reveal things about themselves, I felt like it was a responsibility
to reach out,
to say something, and just to say, you're okay. And that's just my thing. I guess I'm a parent at heart, even though I don't have children of my own. But I just want everybody to be okay, and I don't want anybody to feel alone. I want them to feel like they're here for a reason, and we may not know what that reason is just yet, but it eventually will present itself.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw, of course, like a lot of bad ones, but I just kind of laughed at it.
Sure.
But the really great ones, they were also like, our family, like, we watch Star Wars as a family all the time. Oh, this family's cool. And there was a few that were like, my dad went in and was like, we're not adopting anyone.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Yeah. You'll adopt me though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get a Zeb costume.
Zeb.
Chopper?
I'll do Chopper. I'll figure that out.
Yeah, so that was nice. But there were a few ones that were like, it didn't make sense. Like, it was, I don't remember when we filmed it, but I guess Last Jedi came out and they were like, they filmed this before Last Jedi. And we're like, no? Like, it was just weird comments like that. It was so strange to look at.
Yeah. Well, people always have to say something.
Yeah.
If they don't need to.
What about you, Zoe?
Comments. A lot of the comments were like, I would probably say most were like really, really sweet, like on YouTube, and there was someone like Twitter in replies to the tweet about it.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of sweet ones and saying like they hoped I did, get a Lucasfilm job, which I'm okay with,
Yeah.
And
I know I commented on yours.
I did. I saw your comment. There was you know, a lot of people, and there's a lot of people saying like that they like connected with my story and were inspired by it, which surprised me because I was like, I don't know, there was a worry I had where I felt like I was like, all the other Star Wars stories I felt like were really inspirational, and I was worried. I was like, what if mine like I didn't feel like I had as important a story or as inspirational stories like you guys or any of the other people like Alvin Johnson who had them, and I was really worried. I was like, well, mine's just kind of like, oh, I like Star Wars, and I was worried.
Everyone else's was too.
I know, but I don't know. I was worried. I was like, mine wasn't like enough, but
you didn't feel it had like depth and gravity. But you know what though? But you're doing stuff with your creativity, and you were inspired by that whole process of making these films and doing costuming with your dad. So I think for you, your story was just, I'm pursuing this dream of mine that was born out of my interest in the process, and you know that I became interested in because of the thing that I love.
Yeah, I don't know. I was very pleasantly surprised.
Thank
you. Yeah, no, thank you. I was pleasantly surprised that it seemed to connect with people, and people, you know, people said I made them cry. Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. That was another thing. So, Dale, you were about to cry. Did you cry?
I did cry. Actually, they mercifully edited out like the big ugly cry, and I started, and then I was like, okay.
Did not do that for me. Well,
actually, I know. Well, I laughed when I saw that. I'm just like, oh dear God, he's turning into he's like the Oprah of nerddom. He's making us all cry.
Yeah, no, but actually it's funny because in the video I cry once. I cried way more than once that day when they were filming. I cried a lot. And they were very kind to only include one cry, and there was one where my dad came and hugged me, so I guess I had to include that one. But it was funny.
I was so happy to see your dad, and I was like, oh, there's Dad.
Just off in the corner. Come on.
Yeah, it was funny though, because like one of the comments, back to the comments, was like, why does it sound like she's crying? And it's because some of the audio clips they used but didn't show my face, I was crying. Okay. They just didn't show me crying, but they still used me talking while I was crying. And it's like, as I am crying, that's why it sounds like that.
So how about you, Lizzie? Any hidden or unhidden cries?
I didn't cry. I just, I was super happy to be there, but I didn't say anything to me that was like, it kind of takes a lot for me to cry sometimes.
Okay.
It's kind of, but
depending on what it is.
Yeah, like so I talked about like Sabine and the podcast and stuff, but they did make my dad cry.
Really?
Yeah, and my mom was like, "Are you crying?"
Yeah, that was in the trailer for the first season.
Just like, why are you crying?
I have to go back and watch that because it's been a while, and I've got chemo brain, so I don't remember a lot of things.
Me and your dad bonding over crying and for Jordan.
Yeah, I thought that was so funny. But I felt bad because like I was in like the living room with like the rest of the crew while they were filming, and like, you know, I would poke my head in a little and then like go back to like my phone or whatever, and then all I hear is like, and I'm like, oh no, what happened? I hear my dad, but that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, it does show, you know, that this isn't, you know, just, you know, Sunday afternoon sports. I mean, it's something that, you know, really has kind of moved us all and brought us, you know, closer to the people in our lives. And, you know, I mean, there's an emotional component to it that actually is deep, and it's maybe sentimental in some ways. And, you know, you kind of, you know, look back, for me anyway, I mean, this has been 42 years of my life. You know, 43 in July, because I saw Star Wars, you know, at the cinema in July of 77. So, you know, it's, you know, just like, wow, my entire life has been sort of like wrapped up in this thing, and now I'm just like, I'm all in now. I'm not apologizing.
No apologizing. Yeah.
So what was your first like memorable Star Wars experience?
I can't really. I don't know, but all I remember is when I was little. My dad would put it on all the time, but like what I really, really remembered was like my dad. He would work all the time, and when he had money, he would buy me like Disney toys and like Disney movies. But then he started buying me like little Star Wars Galactic Heroes toys.
Okay.
Where like they just have their hands out and they can't
I've
move.
got a bunch of those.
Like,
I love those. They're so cute.
So good. And I would play with them, but I'm also big into cooking even when I was little. And so I would have little pots and pans to play with, but I'm like, okay, I'm making an Anakin soup today.
Wow.
Anakin Soup Walker.
Yeah. Yeah. So those were my Star Wars memories when I was little.
Okay. How about you, Zoe?
For me, like, I don't remember seeing like the movies for the first time.
Yeah.
I was always asking my dad, I'm like, which order did you show me the movies in? And he said he couldn't remember. And then just recently I realized, I was like, wait, when I was little, Phantom Menace had just come out and Revenge of the Sith didn't come out for a while. So I had to see the originals first. So I figured that one out. But my first I think like significant Star Wars memory would be my first troop when I was a Jawa. I was 6 years old. I just turned 6. And I was in my Jawa robes, and I can't remember really much of the troop, except I remember there was an awesome Commander Cody there. And it was like prequel movie Commander Cody, because Clone Wars wasn't out yet. And I mostly remember the carpet of the building we were in, because my Jawa hood, since we were just getting used to it and hadn't refined the costume yet, the hood kept falling down, so I could just see the floor. It was this yellow, red, orange, brown, like florally kind of carpet. I just remember it really distinctly, but I remember being excited to run around as a Jawa for the first time.
That's fun. I mean, it's so random sounding too. It's like, I remember the carpet.
It's all I could see mostly. But I do want to say, because I pulled up the comments just to look, and there's someone that said, she's in my film classes at Temple, this is crazy, but their name isn't on their account.
Okay.
If you're in my film classes, please, and you commented this, please message me. I want to know who you are. It's crazy. I know one of my friends commented, yo, same, in reply to that. But I mostly want to know who the Jungle Force is. I don't know who you are. Come on, let's be friends. You like Star Wars. Like,
he's been hiding it.
There's a guy who reached out to me, and he has written scripts for like episodic fan films, and he was just like, well, how do I get into this? I'm like, I should send him your way, Zoe.
Is he the Han Solo Chronicles?
No, he hasn't done. I think he's really just sort of been sitting on them. But I should let him know. I should just let him know to get in touch with you, because I'm like, I don't know how to help you. I do fanfic, but it's like, in terms of like actually, trying to get a project underway, I mean, you might have a better idea than I do. He seems like a really sweet guy. Yeah,
it's a little hard, right now to get anything filming-wise done, but yeah, definitely send him my way.
Will do. Because I just want people to be able to realize, their dreams. Yeah. And and you seem to be your own dream maker there. You're making it happen, as I like to say, a lot of times when I'm going into something new, it's like, I am Ray and I am Finn and I can do this. I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of our Star Wars stories. What else? Dale, you said how they got in contact with you. You were on the casting call thing in the Facebook group. Lizzy, how'd they get in touch with your family?
I don't really know. I just remember my dad was like, "We got an email." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they were like, honestly, I don't remember that. It was a long time ago, and like my dad's just like, "Okay, we're doing a Star War." I'm like, "Okay, then."
Wow.
Yeah. So that's usually how it happens. Like,
Dad just
like,
springs it on you.
yeah, like I mean, when we did the first in Galaxy's Edge, my dad was like, "Okay, we're in a Star War." I'm like, okay, cool." Yeah. So that's
So you've been to Galaxy's Edge.
yes. So we've both been to Galaxy's Edge.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I'm so
visited Lizzy.
jealous.
She took me. We went for a day. It was
How
great.
fun that you guys
I-
got to experience it together.
I recorded everything so that way I could see her cry.
I did. I cried a lot. Seeing the Falcon was a lot.
Oh, sure.
I was able to, because I was only there in Galaxy's Edge for one day, because I was just visiting her family out in Anaheim, and but I had to like fly back, and I packed myself pretty tight, so I successfully limited myself to only buying one thing besides food, which I'm very proud of. It was
What was
very
that
hard.
thing?
It was a loft cat.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
I was very proud that I was able to do that. But yeah, I did keep the receipts though, like from when we bought lunch. But I blacked out the prices because I don't need to remember that part.
No, there's a lot. Yeah, I kept
Nope.
the receipts, and my mom's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know."
They're souvenirs. They're
cool.
memories.
They have like the one has like the Black Spire Outpost like symbol on top, and I was like, I want to remember everything I ate, not how much it cost. Take a Sharpie to that.
Sure.
But I want to remember everything else.
What now? Was this before they changed all of the names of the food back to like things that like civilian people? Yeah, they did. They originated things with like Ronto Burger and whatever, and then because too many people were always like, I don't know what that means. It's like, well, then you shouldn't be here. No, I'm kidding. But I guess they really just wanted. They were like, okay, well, it's a hamburger now, I guess.
That's sad.
It is. So that's why I was wondering if on your.
It was before that.
Okay.
I did hear that they got rid of Melu Run juice though.
What? That was the best one.
I don't know if it's true. I was just someone on the internet. You know how the internet people are sometimes.
Dale, you need to come and visit Galaxy's Edge.
I know I do. I really do. And actually my friend Greg, who is like one of my close friends, and he's been to several conventions with me, and we did our road trip to Chicago last year, and that was like super fun. But he and I are just kind of like, well, okay, if we don't do a celebration because we can't afford to do both because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Maybe on an off year, we'll go and do Galaxy's Edge, and we'll do like, 2 days there. And I've already done Disney, in general. So I'm like, I don't need to see that again, but I would really love to just spend 2 days doing that, and then we can do something else.
Yeah, my family this summer was planning to take a trip down to Florida, Galaxy's Edge, and drive, so we had room to like get all the crap we bought back.
Absolutely.
Not sure how that'll go as far as this happening this summer, but
sure. I know that is the hard part, because it's like Greg's already like, well, I'm gonna get a lightsaber, and I'm like, okay.
I thought it was so weird because usually my family and I aren't big like going to Disney we live like 5 minutes away, but like we don't go all the time because like it's expensive.
Sure. Well, that's part of the thing. I'm just going like, oh dear God, how do I rationalize spending like $250 going, for 2 days just to go and visit?
Spend more money.
Yeah. So that's why it's a little tough.
Yeah. So, but late, and I was like, yeah, I'm okay with that. I've been to Galaxy's Edge like twice. I'm cool. But now that we're all quarantined, I'm like, I want to go every day.
Because it's the thing you can't have.
Yeah, and I'm so excited because I think, see, that's the tricky part, because I'm like, the first thing I want to do when I go out is go to Disneyland, but also like, it's still like it's still sketchy
Yeah.
And like a lot of people are probably going to want to go.
Sure.
So I don't know if I want to do that anyway.
Right.
But,
I'm just hoping, knowing Disney, I'm sure there's going to be some really fun reopening ceremonies and such when eventually, hopefully, when they can do it safely.
Sure.
And hope maybe sales. And maybe Shop Disney will put those Ahsoka mini ears back because I didn't get any. I'm so
no
sad.
Kidding. Oh no.
But I felt a little, I guess, better because Ashley Eckstein said she didn't get one on that launch.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so I'm not like the only one. Although imagine being like, imagine like actually being one person that got those and seeing that like maybe you took it from Ashley Eckstein.
Yeah.
I would be like, Ashley, what's your P.O. box? I'm sending you one right now. You can have it.
You can have mine. It's fine. I'll just wait for the next one. The thing that I'm struggling with is the immersive experience hotel, because I'm like, that those hotels are so freaking expensive at Disney, and I'm just like,
my plan.
Yes.
So I'm big into cooking. I want to be a chef.
Okay.
I got laid off for a little just until after this blows over, but so I'm just trying to get as much experience as I can, and I'm going to be going to a culinary college in New York. That's so
awesome.
much. But like, I want, my goal at least is to like just have like a bunch of like different experiences in a bunch of different restaurants, and then be able to get a job at the hotel as a chef.
That would be something.
Because that would be so cool to make Star Wars food in a Star Wars hotel, and maybe they could be like, yeah, we got enough money, go ahead and use the room,
Right.
That's the dream right now.
And you're gonna get all your awesome friends' rooms in the hotel.
my friends, yes.
Zoe's already making plans.
I don't have any plans.
Yeah, one of these days, it's like baby steps for me. It's like I'll get to Galaxy's Edge, and then we'll see about the hotel if that happens. But if it doesn't,
I'm not sure if we would stay at the hotel because I'm sure it would be like amazing. But
like, is it free to just be in the lobby?
No, that's the thing. It's like they won't allow anybody in because they don't want to break the whole atmosphere of the thing. It's like you come and go. I think you enter, and then you have to you check in. But I think that it's like an immediate check-in, and then you can see the rest of it. Otherwise, from what I gather, it's a totally immersive experience where you don't have any of the outside world, and that the way they're building it, from what I saw in the little schematics, was that when you leave there, you get like it's almost like your ship is allowing you to disembark and be on Batuu.
Oh,
cool. Yeah, I know. I don't know how exactly how the Star Wars thing is gonna operate, but I know in like I've flown down to Disney World before, and we stayed on one of the little Disney resort things, and I know like you pretty much get off the plane and you follow the giant Mickey Mouse symbols until you get to that Disney lobby, and they just kind of like take all your stuff and put you on a bus, and they're like, all right, go. It's like, okay, I'm going.
All right.
And now you're here. Enjoy Disneyland.
Yeah, but they pretty much kind of just grab you by the shoulders and just kind of steer you until like you get to the park, and they just kind of let you free.
Yeah.
Which I imagine it would be like that for the Star Wars hotel. But
I would think so.
It is funny though, because the one time, I've only been twice, so the second time we went, they were a little late getting our bags to us, I guess, because there was more people coming. And we were like, yeah, we can just go to the water park. We don't need the sunscreen we packed. I usually don't burn at all, but I got the worst sunburn of my life that day.
That was your souvenir.
Yeah.
Might as well, yeah.
And I guess maybe it was free.
Free sunburn.
Free something.
Yay!
Oh.
So
Did you save all the peeled skin?
I did not. That sounds really disgusting, but my father.
Hi, everyone. I can't hear
hey.
You need to learn sign language.
Bye.
But
Bye.
So yes, I'm surrounded by things right now because this is where I also do my work
no.
while I'm away from the actual office. So
Look, I kind of do. I have a Galaxy's Edge thing. I have a little music box that I got.
Oh,
nice.
so pretty.
What does it play?
The
So cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have the tickets of Rise of Skywalker in it, and all the receipts of all the Ronto raps that I had, because I had many, because they're my favorite now.
Now you're gonna have to figure out what the real new name is for them next time you go, because you know
they're always going to be Ronto raps to me.
well, absolutely, as they should be.
Melu run juice. That is so good.
Oh yeah,
It's the best drink I've ever had in my life, and just the idea of it not being there makes me so sad. I need to figure out how to make it.
It was so funny because she got the Maylin Run juice, and I was like, it looks like your hair, because it's like a bright pink purple.
Yeah.
And at the time that was Zoe's hair, and I was like, lift the cup, and I took a picture.
You were accessorizing with your food.
I remember the Ronto wraps though, because I had to get like the vegan Ronto wrap.
Okay.
And I so I was with Lizzy and her little brother. So Lizzy and Axel got their wraps, and then I had mine, and I just grabbed the one that looked different because that was it, and I bit into it. And there was a second because the vegan sausage was so good. I was like, this is not vegan sausage. I just ate one of their meals, but it was the right thing.
But it was the right thing.
Yeah, Disney food is expensive, but it's so good.
Yeah. Well, they had a cookbook that came out, and I so wanted to get that, but I ended up not getting it. And I'm wondering if some of those things, like some of the juices and things that you were enjoying there would be part of their listing of recipes.
So I got the book.
Okay.
And it's really great. The only thing is that it has like the tip yip, it has the Ronto wraps, but it's a different version. Like the Ronto wraps you get at the Disneyland is not the same as the recipe. It's still like a wrap, but it's like different meat.
They want you to
okay. That's disappointing.
A little, but there's like a bunch of cool, like, here's how to make this sauce and these seasonings that we use, and then they have a bunch of alcoholic drinks that I have not made, of course. The only one that
I could sample those for you.
Yeah, the only one I did was a blurred fire, and I just didn't use the alcohol, and it was really, really good.
Okay. Well, as long as they have, at least the flavors are similar. That's kind of cool, but it's too bad that, but I guess there are very specific ingredients that they use for their food services versus what's available out in the general public.
Right.
So.
But there have been some people that are like, it tastes like before the cookbook came out and before Galaxy's Edge opened. My dad was just so excited, and he was like, I need a Ronto wrap. And I was like, and he was like, Lizzy, just make it, please. And I was like, I don't know what it is. So we just looked at it. We were like, sausage, coleslaw, and something else. Okay. And so he made me get in the kitchen and make them without a recipe, without anything. And I was like, okay, here it is.
Oh, such is the curse of your passion.
Yeah, and then he was like, this is really good. And then we went to Galaxy's Edge, and he was like, "This is so much better." I was like,
Oh.
"I'm a little
Well,
hurt,
thanks,
but,
Dad.
like, I tried, at least they were both good,
You're right.
And
You
when
didn't
you
die
work-
from the other one, did you? Then it was fine.
When you work in the hotel, Lizzie, you'll get to learn all the secrets.
Yes, I will try my
Right.
hardest, and then I'll make it for Dad all the time.
There you go. And then, just write everything down. It's like, aha, that's your supplier for that.
Like in Harry Potter, like Snape writing like the alternate better versions of all the potions. It's
Ah,
you, but there's
yes.
like Lizzie's copy of the book with all the notes.
Yeah, she's what are you doing? Oh, nothing.
Just taking notes, that's kind of what I do at my internship. Like,
Okay.
what I used to, because they have like really good sauces and stuff, and I was like just writing stuff down. They're like, Lizzie, you don't have to like keep it a secret. It's fine. And I'm like, shh, it's okay.
It's cooler when it's a secret.
It does. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm doing something on the DL, and it's like, I'm gonna have this, and you're not. It's like, I have Grandma's secret recipe for her favorite butter cookies, and you don't.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining like in Rogue One where like Jyn and Cassian like go to the data vault on Scarif. I'm imagining that, but it's you like going through all the recipes with a little grabber arm thing.
Yeah.
It's like, geez, what's the name of that special project? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I do have to be going soon to make some lunch for my family.
You gotta make
Alright.
Ronto
Probably
wraps?
not Ronto wraps.
No. Okay. Well, this has been super awesome. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, we veered off
Thank you
from
for having or being here.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we veered off from Jordan and our Star Wars stories a little bit, but
Exactly, but
it's all right.
it happens. This is what we do. We talk about all the things, and it's like, and who knows? It's like, maybe we'll do this again someday, or we'll just meet up in person at one of the conventions, and we'll
if
talk
Celebration
more.
or Anaheim is still a thing, then maybe we could do that.
Well, I know I won't.
I won't be able to go either.
I'm so sad. It's like I can't do back-to-back years.
And it's just the schedule for me. It's the weekend after my classes start.
So
yeah,
not great.
I'm starting.
I mean,
in September.
If they postpone it,
right?
Yeah, I'll try and make it. But who knows? But actually, it is funny, Dale, because when they filmed me, I think they had just come from filming you. So they were talking, like, Jordan's like, yeah, we just did this really inspirational interview. And then he's talking about it. And I was like, oh, that video sounds neat. Can't wait to watch that one.
I have no idea what's coming down the pike. They didn't share it. They gave me like a list of cities that they were going to. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's funny, though, because after they filmed mine, they kind of, as they were going in different directions, like Jordan was going back like home and Matt Martin was going home. But it was funny because Matt was like, oh yeah, I'm going to fly out of Philadelphia. So we're going to Philadelphia tonight after we finish. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Get a Philly cheesesteak. And then a couple hours later, Matt Martin's tweeted, he's like, I just had a Philly cheesesteak. Yes!
There you go.
It was funny. But no, they filmed you. And then they asked about Celebration. I was like, hey, I don't think I'll be able to make it. And they're like, oh, no one we're interviewing is going to go to Celebration. I was so sorry.
Well, don't have them back-to-back years. That's tough.
It's just end of August is just rough for school and stuff, especially because like me and my sister are both in school. My parents are both teachers. It's just not. It's just not working.
And my other half is like Star Wars, but is not in deep, and I have no interest in going to a Celebration. So it's like I have to. I'm always grateful for the off years because that's the year that we can go and have like a proper vacation. But then COVID, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. Maybe we'll have a better trip when we go out to New York to see my other oncologist, and we will just make a better vacation out of that and stay a few more days than we normally would. So,
right.
Yeah, who knows?
So the future is always in motion.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, somebody's got to go make lunch, and dinner is happening for us soon. And, and Zoe, what are you off to?
Probably. Oh, I'm gonna go bleach my hair. That's something.
Okay.
Um,
It will no longer be my Lou Run colored.
yeah, I'm going for white. So I swear
Okay.
my hair isn't usually this greasy. I just did coconut oil in it to help
Mhm.
protect it from the bleach before I do
Yeah.
it. So I promise it doesn't look like this all the time.
It
But
looks very casual.
Zoe's an expert.
it's not an expert. I just don't want to fry my hair or get another chemical burn.
Oh,
But
that sounds
Right.
terrible.
I haven't had bad chemical burns. I've seen bad bleach burns where it's
Okay.
like their hair's falling out. I just had it was just like a gross pain. It was like it hurt a little bit, but it's mostly just like really gross on my head.
No.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into detail, but
Okay.
not
I've never
fun.
dyed my hair.
Always be careful bleaching your hair. That's my advice.
Thank you. Thank
Well,
you,
Lizzy, if you ever need any answers for that, if you should
I
take that
guess,
route,
yeah.
there's your girl.
Maybe, but I kind of like my brown hair.
I'm trying to go to white, so that might be a couple bleachings. We'll see.
All right.
Um,
Well, I
yeah.
will be looking forward to seeing photos of that.
Yes. Okay.
So
Thank you so much.
yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Ethan.
It was so fun to be able to connect with everyone about Star Wars again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're my very first podcast. So
Wow. Welcome to the
So-
world of the
Wow.
podcast.
so I'm ticking all these boxes,
Yeah.
So this is great. So first
Podcasted.
podcast.
Yeah.
So all right. You guys take care of
Awesome.
yourselves. Stay
Yeah.
safe. Stay well.
You too.
Dale,
absolutely.
do you have any public social medias you want to plug before you go? Or
If people are interested in reading sort of stream of consciousness writing of fan fiction, if you go to Blogger, it's Dex Balagon Tales, DEXBALAGON tales.com. You can find or blog at blogger.com. Whatever, but just look up Dex Balagon. It's there. DEXBALAGON. If you see that, then that's me. And I'm working on a second story right now, and I've been struggling because it's been, writing conversations about people, meeting up with each other before the action actually starts. So that's always the boring part. So, but
I'm sure
yeah,
you
so
can
that's.
do it.
And on Facebook, I'm Warehouse 1138. So
Thank you.
So there you go. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you can
you.
find
All right. Well,
I'm just gonna do Star Wars Geek Girl plugs quick. So Twitter, SW Geek Girl. We do have an Instagram now, SW Geek Girl. Facebook, Star Wars Geek Girl. Pretty easy.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. We have to do our sign off. I was Zoe.
I was Lizzy. Dale.
And I was Dale.
Thank you for listening to Star Wars Geek Girl. May the Force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.